welcome to Tech. Just curious, kind of what has been your adjustment to I guess, working with the offense, kind of learning, I guess, how to adapt your system to what they were doing. I know that there's some similarities. Kind of what are the differences too that you see as you start to get ready to install your offense?
Right. No, I mean, obviously, the recruiting is obviously taking precedent over all that stuff, but had a lot of time. I've known Coach Brent Key for a long time, so I know what he's all about. So the transition, it's going to probably be quite a bit different for the guys. Just the tempo and the physicality that we're going to play with is probably going to be, a major change for these guys. How hard we practice and the demand that we expect those guys. We had a big meeting the other day, and our offense starts in the weight room, and you want to make a good first impression, start there. So just all the things, the little things that entail winning, will be overemphasized, obviously in great detail. But just I think the tempo, physicality, formation, a little bit more broader surfaces with tight ends and different personnels that you'll see. But obviously it comes down to getting our players in position to make plays, and I got to find out who those guys are, and really look forward to, getting off the road, finish up recruiting and jumping in the weight room with these guys.
Next question comes from Rod McKenzie from 247 Sports.
How do I get rid of this little thing right here? Yeah.
Hey, Coach.
So I can see. Sorry, guys.
Hey, Coach. Welcome to Atlanta.
Glad to be here.
You have some new coaches at the quarterback position, actually running back, and you with the tight ends and the entire offense. Is that good to have a fresh start for the players that are coming back to have you guys reevaluate everybody and maybe start from the beginning and have some good competition in practice?
I think so. You got to ask those guys. But I always think, some fresh ideas and faces never hurts. I know the kids are really excited. I'm really excited about our offensive staff and the guys that we were able to bring here, and just being able to move forward with that. The kids are, from what I've been told, are really excited, but, obviously we got to see that when we get off the road and see how well they're working and are they meeting the expectation that we expect and the level of effort we expect from them on that day-to-day basis. So, it's exciting for all of us.
Next question comes from Ken Segura from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution.
Hey, Chip, it's good to meet you virtually. Hope to meet you soon in person.
You bet.
Can you kind of tell the story a little bit of how the contact was initiated and kind of your process in deciding to come here from Tulane?
Yeah, Patrick Suggs and Brent Key are probably two of my more closest friends in the business. So we keep in touch all the time, talk all the time. And then when this opportunity presented itself, they gave me a call if I'd be interested. And, absolutely. I've always had great respect for Georgia. Me being from Birmingham is closer to home as well. And just gave me the opportunity to work with two guys that I respect immensely in this profession. You don't really always get that opportunity to do that. I didn't want to miss it. And having the ability to come work with Coach Collins, who I've had great respect for everywhere he's been as a D coordinator. And then when he was at Temple, we had to play him. And just, I always wanted to kind of see what he was about, and he's been amazing so far since I've got here.
Next question comes from Jeff Schultz from The Athletic.
Hi, Chip. I've seen in college and pro, anytime a new offensive coordinator comes in, whether it's the same scheme or extremely different scheme, it seems like there's always a transitional period. And I'm just wondering, how much you've experienced that in the past and how much we could sort of expect that it's just going to take time before players get accustomed to your pace, your play calling, your tempo, your playbook.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there's always a little transition, but, at the end of the day, I got to try to make it, build it around those guys. So it takes a lot of the anxiety out of it. So our guys can go and play hard and play physical and, and play free. Different places I go, I always try to keep some of the lingo that they've had in the past, just to help with the transition and just smoothing it out, just so our guys know how to line up in a formation in day one, and just try to keep the transition as much as I can, especially the quarterback spot. Obviously, certain terminology is going to be different and whatnot, but as much as I can keep it and make it easier for them or something that they know or have a frame of reference of, I've always tried to do that if all my spot stops. And it's been good for me, but I'd rather make it hard on one person instead of 40. And that's what I've tried to do everywhere I've ever been.
Next question comes from Allison Mastrangelo from WSB TV.
Hey, Chip, welcome to Atlanta. I was just curious, how would you describe your play calling and your offensive strategy? Is it high tempo, fast paced? Well, how would you describe it?
Yeah, we obviously want to attack. I tell our guys we always want to try to play at a 2-minute pace. But it's a pro style offense that goes fast. I mean, we ask our guys to do a whole lot. You'll see very different presentations formationally, guys moving, all over the place to put them in position to make plays. And, it's an offense over the year that's really showcased our playmakers and, never coming out of a game wondering why so-and-so didn't touch the ball multiple times. I'm more about how do we get our best players the ball than this is what I want to call in this situation. So it's a player-driven offense that showcases their talents and, being able to play at a tempo usually gives us an advantage up front, most places I've been, and really helps, with our ability to run the ball when we want to run it.
Another question from Kelly Quinlan from Rivals.
Hey, Chip. Curious about just looking at the quarterback room. Obviously, Jeff's played a lot, but you bring in the 2 Zachs to compete now, and I imagine you kind of approach it as this is day one, clean slate. Everyone has to earn their roles. Kind of, what do you tell those guys, and kind of what are your expectations for that competition in the spring?
Yeah, obviously Jeff is an extremely talented young man. I'm excited to work with him. When the offense rolls out there, he's going to be the first guy going. But we want to have great competition at all spots. It's his job, but he has to maintain it and he has to compete and work at the level that we expect the starting quarterback to work at. So a lot of that's going to be on him. But we're really excited about the two younger quarterbacks, the 2 Zachs. Both are different, but both have great moxie and, they see themselves as great quarterbacks, which is where you want to start. But all positions, are going to have to live up to a different standard. And then effort and competition, I think they have in the past.
Another question from Rod McKenzie from 247 Sports.
Hey, Chip, the tight end room naturally is one of the newer positions on the team. Only 3 years in developing talent for that position. You brought in a key player from the portal in Luke Benson. What can you tell us about him?
Luke is impressive, just his athleticism. He was a gunner on the punt team. At his size, you don't usually see that in major college football. So that really excited me. I think it gives us an extra gear to own the middle of the field that you always like to have at the tight end position. And just another guy who can make things happen with the ball in his hands. Obviously, we got to see what all he can do when we start practice, but just off film, just his raw athletic ability really showed out to me. And then his ability on special teams really showed. The way he can move in space and make tackles in space, which is rare for a tight end, to be honest with you.
Another question from Ken Segura from the AJC.
As I understand it, you've long used 12 personnel, and I'm curious, kind of what was your first introduction to that, and why do you believe in that?
I just think it's hard for the defense. They got to be able to match. Obviously, they have to be able to take certain gaps and the ability to go at tempo and be able to get into 4 wides, and in the next play be able to get into a too tight situation. It's hard on the defense. They got to decide, do they want to leave a nickel on the field or if they want to have 3 linebackers out there. It also gives you a nice physicality presence for your run play action, because any moment you sub, the referee's going to sit over the ball and let the defense be able to sub. So if we can be able to get into all different kind of personnel and formations in the same personnel, just helps us dictate the pace of the game and the way we want it to be played.
Another question from Jeff Schultz from The Athletic.
Following that up, I know, for a while, everybody was running 4 receivers, 4 wide receivers, 5 wide receivers. I know locally, Todd Monken up in Georgia loves 2 tight end sets. Arthur Smith with the Falcons loves using tight ends a lot. Obviously, he's got a great one there. But I'm just curious, are things kind of swinging back that way with 12 personnel, do you think, or with offense?
Yeah, I mean, it's just hard. I mean, you see, obviously Pitts, who was at Florida, and now, with the Falcons, when you have a guy like that, it's just a hard mismatch that you can line up outside. And, now you got to decide, you want to put a bigger safety on him? Well, now he probably doesn't run as well as that guy. You don't want to put a corner on there because his size is, so it's just huge mismatch issues. But, it's been something that we've been very successful with, even when we were at Arizona State doing it. But I think you have to have a physicality. And to be a physical team, you have to have a tight end. You have to be able to set the edge and be able to present broad blocking surfaces to be a physical team and be able to run it to win games in the fourth quarter. And just having the ability, to shape the offense around what kind of, athleticism they have, I think helps in the long run and just helps you stay more balanced offense. It's harder to defend.
Another question from 247 Sports, this time from Bryce Kuhn.
Coach, you talked about you're on the road recruiting and everything. How important is it for you guys with the current roster to be able to, I guess best way to put it is to tailor your offense to what you have currently while also looking ahead to the future with some pieces that you're out there looking at?
Yeah, I mean, we always want to, keep building length, keep building explosiveness and playmakers, recruiting is 24/7, 365. So, you always want to try to get the best players, but also the players that you think can fit, the things we do. But at the end of the day, we want to try to be able to get guys who fit Georgia Tech, who are physical, obviously have the athleticism to compete at a high level. And I think these guys have done that. You can see the roster just getting better and better each year, just from afar watching. So, we're really excited with the talent we have here. We just got to mold it and just teach them how to win and what it takes to win and what that looks like daily. I think is the biggest thing we got to get going offensively, for sure.
Another question from Kelly Quinlan.
You guys right now, I think, are still planning to get started next month. Does that help getting an earlier jump on it? Is it a little bit harder because you're doing still kind of?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be rolling once we get off the road recruiting. Shoot, we got about a few weeks to get going. It's just kind of how it is. It is what it is. So, I've never done it before like this, but it does give you, extra time if somebody were to get banged up to be healthy when we start summer workouts. So I'm kind of excited about it. Once I get off the road, I want to get with these kids and let's get it rolling. So, but yeah, as a coach, man, there's no much time off after recruiting. We got to get going and getting in there to get our installs and learn the offense and being able to teach it to the kids. And most importantly, get in the weight room with the kids because, at the end of the day, I'm really big on relationships. I want to know these guys inside and out. And the only way to do that is to be, down with them in the nit and gritty. I think a kid's going to work out harder when his position coach and coordinator is watching him lift. So plus I want them to know how important that is to me, being down there with them. So just getting around them as much as we can and, and teaching them the game of football. And obviously it just going to be a lot quicker than in the past. So I'm really excited about it. Never done it before.
Another question from Rod McKenzie.
Hey, Coach, in the wide receiver room, you have a true freshman in Leo Blackburn, who a lot of schools looked at as a tight end. With his size and athleticism, is he somebody that you could move around a little bit?
Yeah, I don't see him as a tight end type. I see him as a really special receiver that we love to leave in the boundary. We're just going to present a lot of one-on-ones for us or create some too high opportunities to run the ball just with his ability. I know everybody's excited about him. I am too. He's a special talent that can't wait to get out there, get healthy and get running around. But I see him more as a special receiver than moving in as a tight end body.
Another question from Ken Segura from the AJC.
If I could follow up on that, kind of what you've seen and learned about the tight ends you have, besides Luke, kind of what's your assessment so far?
Yeah, I don't know much. I mean, obviously they're great kids. Really look forward to, getting around them and whatnot. Like I said, I've been on the road like crazy nonstop. So I haven't seen him, from film. The talent's there. We just got to be able to get them going and playing at a higher level. But I think they're excited about it. And, you're going to play better when you touch the ball a little bit more too. So I think they're really excited about the direction of the offense. And, at the end of the day, we got to see what they do on the practice field. And so I can mold molded around what they can do, and at the end of the day, what our quarterback can do. So usually the tight end's a quarterback's best friend. So hopefully we can keep that trend going. But overall, great group of guys. I know that they work hard. So, I'll kind of hold out to about after the first 2 weeks of practice, kind of see where we are with the direction we want to go. And that's really for all.
Another question from Jeff Schultz from The Athletic.
Chip, obviously the transfer portal is a reality in college sports today. Jahmyr Gibbs was already gone. I'm pretty sure by the time you came on board, but I'm just curious, early in the process, did you reach out to any of the players on offense, particularly Jeff Sims, about kind of what your plan is for the offense? And
Oh yeah, right when I got the job, I flew down and visited with Jeff and his family, and just wanted to be able to present that because I think he's a special talent that expect big things out of, and really excited to work with him. And I wanted him to know that. And then obviously reached out to all the offensive players and whatnot. But, if you're not recruiting your own team, someone else is. So, that's just the new reality of college football. Relationships matter. They got to be able to see it and be able to picture themselves, reaching the dreams that they have. And if not, they're going to go elsewhere. So it's just, a constant communication with not only them, but the families as well. So it's just the new reality in college football. But yeah,
I'm sorry.
I flew right down there to visit with him.
Okay, I was going to ask you how soon you did that. Was it right?
Yeah, maybe within 40. I don't want to tell you something. I think it was right away, but it was within the first 2 days I was here. We flew down to Jacksonville.
Another question from Kelly Quinlan.
Yeah, I was curious about Coach Winkie and Coach Daniels. You got to add a quarterbacks coach and a running backs coach to your staff. Kind of what do you like about those guys? What's your relationship been like building up? And obviously you worked with Chris before at Tennessee, so obviously that was a connection too.
Right. Like you said, I worked with Chris, and it opened me up to be able to go to tight ends, which at the end of the day, I've coached quarterbacks, and obviously everything starts with the quarterbacks. I'll still meet with the quarterbacks daily. Chris will obviously take them with their development and whatnot, because our entire offense revolves around that one position. But the tight end allows me to be able to get my voice across to a lot more positions, and then just the intensity and the physicality. I think being able to come from my voice helps, raise everybody else's level of what we're wanting to do, not just at the quarterback, because you're just dealing with so much more at practice with them. So it really helps me be able to touch every position that needs to be touched in this process of overhauling the offense. And Chris is outstanding in his quarterback development. When I was at Tennessee, saw him do it each and every day. Great personality, great staff guy, and a really good football mind. Mike Daniels came recommended from a bunch of guys I respect in the profession. He's done an outstanding job. His presence, he's been a head high school coach for a long time, so he gets it. But just his relationship with the kids, just starting off right away, has been really impressive to me, and his work ethic's been outstanding on the road. And at the end of the day, you judge a coach, how hard do your kids play and how hard do you recruit? It's pretty as simple as that, and both those guys do a great job in that spot.
Are there any more questions for Coach Long? Okay, we'll take one more here from Ken.
At Notre Dame, I think your results largely spoke for themselves. Tulane obviously didn't go quite as well. What do you feel like when you look back at it? What happened there, and maybe what did?
Well, hopefully we don't have any natural disasters happen here in the greater Atlanta area. We were refugees for about a month in Birmingham with a massive hurricane that came right through New Orleans. So those poor kids, obviously they did a great job, but it's hard to have a football go the way you wanted to go dealing with that the first part of the year. But it was a great experience, and those kids did a great job overcoming that. But it was one of those deals that just happened, and you start losing a bunch of close games, and we got to play pretty close to perfect at Tulane to be able to beat some teams. But hopefully we don't have any of those issues here in Atlanta. That's for sure. That was a first for me. I never had to deal with that. And I got a lot more respect for if you guys have to be a refugee ever again. It is no fun.
Are there any more questions? Okay, if not, Coach Long, thanks so much for taking the time, and everybody on this call, thanks for taking the time to jump on with us, and be on the lookout for advisories about when we're going to have some opportunities for you to meet some of the rest of our new staff. So